Hey, what's up guys? It's Toxic here, and today we're going to be talking about something a little bit controversial within the Roblox Twitter community. Now, as you guys may or may not know, Roblox has recently added a whole voice chat system to the platform that allows people to talk to each other in-game. And there's been a lot of discussion about this feature lately on Twitter because it turns out that Roblox actually records what you say. And apparently a lot of people didn't know that, so it became a very big thing, and there's multiple tweets with thousands of likes and a lot of, discussion regarding this topic. So I figured I'd talk about it and share my thoughts on the matter. But as you guys can see on the screen right now, we're taking a look at a tweet from someone named A-Man-Sees, and it says, "By the way, Roblox records your voice if you're using their voice chat feature." And like I said before, this tweet has almost 1,500 likes. And there's another tweet from Roblox RTC that uses the same screenshot, so we're going to look at that one. And that tweet is right here, and it says, "Did you know Roblox may record you whilst you use voice chat?" This screenshot has been going around in the RTC after it recently appeared on Many's screen. What are your thoughts? And this one has 2,200 likes. So again, a lot of people were, liking these tweets and discussing this topic in the replies. So I figured, I'd share my thoughts on it and also share what I've read from the voice recording FAQ as they mentioned in the screenshot. But first, let's actually take a look at this screenshot and see what everybody's talking about. So as you can see, this screenshot says, "You have opted into one or more of our beta features. Voice chat. Please report abuse if you encounter people breaking our community guidelines. If you have opted into voice chat, Roblox may record voice audio anywhere on the platform for moderation and safety purposes. By continuing to use the voice chat feature, you consent to Roblox's collection, use, and storage of your voice recording for moderation and safety purposes. You can opt out of spatial voice at any time. Please check voice recording FAQ help article for more information." And first of all, just discussing all of this, I just want to say I'm surprised at how many people were surprised that this was a thing. Like, I thought it was, something that shouldn't really come as a surprise, the fact that Roblox is recording people's, voice chat experience and moderating it after the fact. Because obviously they don't have people just in every single game listening to every single conversation, through the voice chat system. That's not something that's possible. So it makes sense that they record the voice chat system as a whole and basically moderate it after the fact. And something that they don't mention here regarding this recording, but they do mention in this FAQ, is that this is actually only stored for 7 days. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people who only saw the screenshot and didn't read the FAQ, they might have gotten like a huge alarm going off in their head, because it sounds like Roblox is just permanently recording everything you say and all of that. But as it turns out, I'm going to show you guys the FAQ in a second, but it says that it's only stored for 7 days. And I feel like if it was put here, this would not really be nearly as big of a discussion as it is. Because obviously there's a big difference between permanently storing something and only storing something for 7 days and then getting rid of it. But yeah, like I was saying before, I don't really see why people are so surprised at the fact that Roblox is recording the voice chat system. Like, yeah, I would prefer if it wasn't recorded, because obviously, companies just as a whole are pretty well known for, selling people's information and just doing weird stuff with people's, personal data and all that. But I do definitely understand why some people are concerned about Roblox recording their voice. But going over to the voice recording FAQ, like we mentioned before, they actually have a decent amount of information here. Like, I'm going to skip this part where it says, "How can I stay safe using voice chat?" I'm just mostly looking for the stuff I was mentioning before, which is right here. How are recordings stored? The security of your information is important to us. We have measures in place to protect personal data against loss, misuse, or tampering. Recordings are encrypted and can be accessed only by moderation or related safety teams. If no community standard violations are reported or detected, recordings are deleted after 7 days. All personal information, including voice recordings, can be removed through a privacy rights request. Safety exceptions and jurisdictional requirements may apply. But this is what I mentioned before. As long as you haven't been reported or, something that automatically tries to detect, misbehavior, picks up on something, your recordings of your voice will be deleted in 7 days. And again, like I said before, companies really don't have the best reputation when it comes to, protecting personal data and all that. So I do definitely understand the concern, like I said before. But if we were to take Roblox at their word here, this is a pretty fair thing. I definitely understand why this has to be done, and if it's 7 days, I mean, that's a pretty reasonable amount of time for Roblox to be storing these recordings. But moving on to the next topic that a lot of people were talking about as well is my data going to be shared with anyone? Access to voice recordings is strictly limited to only the safety and moderation uses described above. We do not sell your data, and we do not share voice recordings with third parties for any advertising or marketing purposes. And like I said before, a lot of companies have said this and then they've gone and done it anyway. So if we were to take Roblox, just from what they're saying and just assuming that they're telling the truth, this is perfectly fine. Like, I don't really think there's anything wrong with it. But again, we have to treat this with a little bit of skepticism, considering the fact that there's a lot of companies that claim that they don't do this, but then they end up doing it. But yeah, moving on. If requested by the law enforcement and approved by a court, we will provide relevant recording to the law enforcement. I think this one is like required as a company. If the courts tell you to do something and the law enforcement tells you to do something, I'm pretty sure you're required to. So I guess this one is fair. I mean, they quite literally have to. So this one makes sense. And then right here it says, we are constantly improving automated abuse detection and moderation systems. And as part of this effort, we may collaborate with third-party service providers and share anonymized recordings or transcripts of the recordings. Roblox evaluates all of its service providers through a stringent vetting process, including review of their data handling practices. And honestly, this is the part that kind of concerns me a little bit. The fact that they're going to be sharing these recordings with third-party service providers, as they say right here. The main issue I have with this is, one, I mean, it's kind of as contradictory to this when you think about it. I guess technically this is a moderation use, quote unquote, if you really want to consider it that, since this is going to help them with their moderation systems. But sharing these recordings with the third-party service providers, I really think that this is something that shouldn't be done. Like, even though the recordings are anonymized, so they can't be traced back to a specific person necessarily, I still don't think that this is the best course of action for Roblox to take here. Because now, aside from Roblox's practices with selling data and all that, now you have to worry about what if this, other third-party service provider is the type of company that does sell data or does, kind of weird things with what they're provided. And I mean, even though Roblox says that they use a stringent vetting process, I feel like it's still a risk that I personally don't feel comfortable with. And I mean, I don't really use the voice chat, so I guess I'm not really at that risk. So again, I'm just mostly speaking from my perspective here, what I think about it. But yeah, regardless if the recordings are anonymized, I just don't think that sharing these recordings with third-party service providers is the right thing to do. However, at the same time, I do understand that Roblox is, like they said right here, trying to improve their automated abuse detection system. And I do understand that that's a pretty, good thing. Like using these recordings and saying, oh, hey, this person said a particular bad word we don't want on our platform. And using this recording and many other recordings of people using these words, we can, detect it live while someone's playing and, either remove the person's voice chat function, from their account or punish them if, deemed that that's what you need to do. Like do that completely automatically on the spot. And you don't have to worry about them going and bothering people for X amount of days until you finally get to that specific report of that person. So I do definitely see why this, is pretty good in terms of helping Roblox moderate the whole voice chat system as a whole. But again, at the same time, I personally don't feel very comfortable with the idea of my voice recordings being used by third-party service providers and all that. Like I said before, you don't really know what these third-party services are up to and what these companies are really all about in terms of, what their perspectives are on selling data and their use of data and all that stuff. So again, I definitely do understand the concern regardless. But yeah, as mentioned for today's video, I just kind of wanted to talk about this topic because I saw it going around the Roblox Twitter community recently, and I figured I'd share what I found on this FAQ and also share my thoughts on the topic. But I want to hear what you guys think about this down in the comments. Are you guys on the side of people who are kind of concerned about, how their personal data is going to be handled? Or do you guys not really care and you think that there's nothing really wrong with what Roblox is doing? But yeah, as mentioned for today's video, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.